So the cheaper house in Livingston Parish may not always be the cheaper house. That $270,000 resale home may look like the smarter buy next to that $290,000 new construction home. But if the resale has an aging roof, it has higher insurance, maybe an older HVAC system, and no seller concessions, that cheaper home may quietly become the more expensive home. And that is where a lot of buyers can get stuck or get trapped. So before you fall in love with the cheaper house, let me show you how to tell which one is actually cheaper to own. So I'm Brandon Browning with Keller Williams Realty Premier Partners, and I work with buyers and sellers all across the entire greater Baton Rouge area, and some which are trying to make this exact decision. Do I buy the brand new home, or do I go for the established resale? And the honest answer is, it really depends, of course, but it does not depend on the list price alone. So this is part 4 of my 5-part series on buying new construction in the Livingston Parish area. Links to those other videos should be down in the description below or in the comments. So let's get into it. So what's the real question? So instead of asking which one is cheaper, let's maybe ask a better question. Which one is not only cheaper, but cheaper to own? So the list price tells you what the home costs to buy, right? The total cost of ownership tells you what the home actually costs to own. So that is what this whole framework of this video is about. So let's start with the resale side, because this is where a lot of buyers get surprised. When you buy a resale home, you're also buying the age of everything inside of it, right? The roof, the HVAC system, the hot water heater, the plumbing, the electrical system. So a roof, an HVAC system, and a hot water heater, they don't care what the list price said, right? When they reach the end of their life, somebody has to pay for them. And after the closing, that somebody is usually you. So depending on the age and the condition of the home, those hidden maintenance and repair costs can easily turn into thousands and sometimes much more within the first few years of home ownership. So that $270,000 resale home can quietly become $300,000. Now compare that to new construction. Everything, obviously, inside starts new. The roof, the HVAC system, the hot water heater, the appliances. And in Louisiana, you're covered by the New Home Warranty Act, which we broke down in detail in part 3 of this series. Now, that does not mean that new construction is perfect, of course. You still need inspections, you still need your own representation, but you're starting with all new systems. And on the energy efficiency side of things, this matters in Louisiana. Your air conditioner absolutely is going to work. Newer homes generally have better insulation, better windows, new mechanical systems that many of the older resale homes do not. And that can add up to a cost every single month, of course. But none of this matters if we do not talk about the monthly payment. And I believe that this is where the buyers need to start slowing down. So the list price gets your attention, obviously. The monthly payment gets your money, and the total cost of ownership determines whether you made a smart buy. A resale home may have a lower price, but the insurance is higher, the roof is aging, the HVAC is near the end of its life, and the seller sometimes doesn't offer meaningful closing concessions. Now, that is not always a reason to automatically rule out the resale, but it is reason to compare the full deal and not just the number on the listing sheet. Now, when we go into the builder incentives, this is what can completely change the math. So on the new construction, builders are competing for buyers right now, and they're using incentives to do it. So rate buy downs, closing cost contributions, upgraded package. In some cases, those incentives can be worth thousands of dollars. Most have that preferred lender program that can reduce your interest rate, which directly lowers your monthly payment, of course. And a lot of the resale sellers are limited to what they can do. Many bought or refinanced when rates were much lower, so they may want top dollar because selling means giving up a payment they may never see again. And builders are different. They have inventory, they have timelines, they have carrying costs they need to get these homes sold. So that can create real leverage for buyers on the new construction side of things. And one of the biggest pieces of that monthly payment in Louisiana, of course, is going to be your homeowner's insurance. The insurance companies, they care about the age, right? They care about the roof, they care about the electrical systems, the plumbing, the HVAC, and the overall risk profile on the home. Louisiana is already one of the most expensive states in the country for homeowners insurance, so when you're comparing a brand new home against a 15 or 20-year resale, you don't want to guess at all what the insurance is going to cost you, right? You want to get actual quotes before you decide which one is cheaper. So with new construction, you are often starting with a lower risk insurance profile because the roof and the major systems are new. With the resale, you may be walking into a home that is already a approaching a higher risk tier. And every dollar on that monthly premium obviously matters. Now, here's something specific to Livingston Parish that buyers need to think through. So Denham Springs, Walker, Watson, Albany, Springfield do not always behave the same way. A home that makes sense for someone commuting to Baton Rouge may not make sense for someone who needs quick access to Hammond or I-12 or a specific school zone area. So when I work with a buyer, I'm not just looking at the house. I'm looking at the route in, the route out, the drainage history, the flood zone, the school zone, the insurance implications, future resale proof, and whether that subdivision is likely to age well. That is where local knowledge matters. And when you're comparing new construction to resale, do not compare just price. Compare the price per square foot, the lot size, the garage size, and how the floor plan actually lives from day to day. So that is a conversation that most buyers don't have or don't think about until after the close. Now, I do not want to make this sound like new construction is risk-free because it certainly is not. New construction and resale do not have just different prices. They have different risk profiles. So with resale, the risk is hidden, like we've said earlier, under the age, the roof, the HVAC, the electrical, plumbing, drainage, old repairs, and maintenance history that you may never know. With new construction, the risk is execution. Did the builder do what they were supposed to do? Did the subcontractors cut any corners? Was the drainage finished correctly? Did the buyer get independent inspection before closing? The question is not which one has risks. They both do. The question is, which risk are you more comfortable managing? So a good agent does not pretend risk doesn't exist, of course. A good agent helps you identify it before it becomes a problem or becomes your problem. So now I want to address something that I hear often. They don't build homes like they used to. I've heard it 100 times, but here's the honest answer. Sometimes older homes were built with excellent materials, of course, and sometimes newer homes benefit from, better codes, better systems, and better efficiency. So the real question may not be old versus new. The better question may be, was this home built well, maintained well, located well, and of course, priced correctly? So the builder, the maintenance history, and the location matter more than the age itself. A well-built new home from a reputable builder can beat a poorly maintained 30-year home every single time. So that's something I ought to consider. Now, when we bail off into the property taxes, I hear all sorts of confusion all the time. I don't want you to assume the seller's current tax bill will be your bill, okay? In Louisiana, your assessed value may change after a property changes hands. And if this will be your primary residence, make sure you apply the homeowner's exemption after closing, of course. It protects a portion of your home's value from your property taxes. It's not automatic, okay? You have to apply through your parish assessor's office. Now, let's go back into resale. Now, to be fair, resale absolutely has places where it wins, where it can definitely benefit you. Resale wins when location matters more than age. It wins when you need an established neighborhood, maybe a bigger lot, mature trees, or maybe a very specific school zone. If you need to be in a home quickly, resale may be the better option, although some builders do have move-in ready inventory. But if you're building from the ground up, timelines can stretch for months, of course. And sometimes resale wins simply because it's the right house in the right location. Because of those two things, it's just hard to beat. So there's a lot of things to consider here, but remember the framework, right? If you remember nothing else from this video, do not compare new construction and resale by price alone. Compare maybe 5 things. 1 would be your monthly payment, not the list price. 2 would be your insurance. Get actual quotes for both homes before you decide. 3 would be repairs likely coming in the next, 3 to 5 years. 4 would be your location, your commute, and of course the school zone. 5 would be resale value, maybe 5 to 7 years from then. You want to run that comparison on both homes and then run that through your calculus in deciding on which home you're going to go with. So to sum it all up, here's the bottom line. New construction may win on maintenance costs, warranty protection, an insurance profile, energy efficiency, and of course, builder incentives. Resale may win on location, lot size, established neighborhoods, square footage, and timing. And one thing I forgot to mention, of course, your custom builds are a lot of your resales, okay? But the mistake is choosing either one too early before you have compared this entire full picture. So before you walk into a model home and before you write an offer on a resale, call me. Let's compare the full deal before your emotions get involved and your emotions take over. My name is Brandon Browning. I'm with Keller Williams Realty Premier Partners. My phone number is on the screen if you're looking for someone to represent you. 225-445-0629. I'll see you in part 5, and thank you so much for watching.